you might be asked to do a translation by hand without having to graph it out and all that kind of stuff would be using a vector. And we talked a little bit about that with our vocab. So let's say, assume the vector 2, negative 5, and remember vectors have to have these little brackets on there. Describes the translation of the square below. So I'm going to graph a quick square here. All right, what are we on the alphabet here? So D, E, F, G. Let's say where each box is equal to 1 again on this graph. Okay, so we're looking at that. All right, so I want to know what are the coordinates of the image of this translation. Okay, so this vector, remember a vector was like kind of like pointing the way of whatever direction the translation was going to go. Okay? And in this case, our vector is 2, negative 5. So every one of these points, if you go 2, negative 5, this is the x and the y of the vector. So, like, let's say we start at, like, point E, okay? So if I'm going to put the vector 2, negative 5 off of E, it's going to go over 2, 1, 2, and then down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? So that vector, it looks kind of like a ray, right? So it's basically just a ray that is pointing the way to where it needs to go. Okay? So from E down to here, so this would be your new E prime. Okay? And then you just do that for all 4 of them. And it points to where those new points should be. And it should make a new square down here once you're done. And I have a picture on this one just to kind of show you what it looks like. But again, you can do this without actually having to draw this thing out, right? I mean, at least once you've got one point, you shouldn't have to keep drawing the vectors every single time. But there's G prime, there's F prime, so it got a little jumbled at the bottom there. But you get the idea, right? Each one of these points, you put that same vector onto it, and it's going to go over 2, down 5, boom, pointing right to that one. Over 2, down 5, boom, right to that one. Over 2, down 5, and boom, right to that one. So you got all these vectors kind of just pointing right to here, right to here, right to here, right to here. How do you do this problem, though, without actually having to draw the image? Like, if I had just the coordinates of these 4 points, so like D is at, what, negative 4, 3? So if D is at negative 4, 3, how do I get the coordinates of D prime just knowing that the vector is 2, negative 5? Yeah, no. Yeah, it's kind of like the rule, except it's just kind of in condensed form, right? 2, negative 5 means add 2 to x, subtract 5 from y. It's telling you these two numbers, right? It's doing the same thing. It's just written a different way. Okay? So, negative 4, 3, I got to add 2 to negative 4, negative 2, and then I got to subtract 5 from 3. So, negative 2, right? So D prime should be at negative 2, negative 2. Take a look at the picture. Is that the case? Right. Okay. So if I keep applying this rule just like I did the other ones, E is at negative 2, 3. F is at negative 2, 1. Oops. And G is at negative 4, 1. So I can very quickly, just like I did the mapping, or just like I did the rule, get E prime, F prime, and G prime just by adding 2 to every X and subtracting 5 from every Y. So let's see where we should end up here. So then E would be at 0, negative 2. F prime should be at 0, negative 4. And G prime should be at negative 2, negative 4. Just doing it that way. And you can look in the picture and, yep, those are all exactly where they're supposed to be. Okay, so what I'm going to do with you is just going the opposite direction with it. If I show you a picture of a translation again, can you tell me what the rule is, and can you write that as a vector? And if we can do that, I think we're good. I think we got everything we really need to go over here. So I'll move over here for that one. And actually, I'm going to make these the primes up here. I'm being sneaky. All right, and I'm going to put some scale on this thing. So there's 2, 4, 6, negative 2. All right, so again, every box is 1 unit, just so we're staying clear on that. Okay, so what I'd like you to do on this one is to describe the translation using a vector. Okay, so how far did it move? Vertically, horizontally, and make that a vector. All right, so who thinks they got it? What are the coordinates of that vector? Jason? You guys agree with that? He's almost got it. Actually, 1, 2. Did you mean right 5 down 3? Now here's the thing. It's still not technically right. I know, but I just want to point something out because I'm sure other people did this. Okay? You got to think about where's the image and where's the pre-image, right? The image is here. The pre-image, where you start, is here. Okay? So it should be left 5, up 3, right? Now, if it's left 5, up 3, and I said I want this as a vector, right? So technically, what would that be as a vector then, Mr. McKinnon? Right, -5, 3 in the little brackets. Okay, like that. That would be the answer to that one. Good. Okay, I think you guys got enough to chew on here where you should be able to get the homework without too much trouble. Good. Okay, so I'll let you get started on that.